Okay, I am going to call to order the Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting for April 15th, 2023. I move to open the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have just one thing to say before we get into the meeting. Find it. Too much paper tonight. Okay. The Governor Healy's budget that was passed about a week ago allows for the continuation of the hybrid meeting model through March 31st, 2025. So presumably, this will be continuing as it has done since we reopened Town Hall after the worst of the pandemic. Okay, just want that on the record. Business, our first business item is 114 Old Colony Lane, a tree removal.
Chair Hannafin, that was a mistake that was carried over from last week.
Okay.
The first item is B2.
So, 15 Creek Road, relocation of a Conservation Commission marker. Is someone here
Yep.
to,
That's me.
Drew Malone.
would you give us your name and address?
Drew Malone, 15 Creek Road, Marshfield.
Okay. And what are we looking at here?
So what I'm asking to do is just move a conservation marker approximately, it's 15 feet northeastward, if I can do this. And the reason is, the area back there was maintained as grass, and I'm just looking, I haven't been maintaining it. The conservation markers out there, Billy Grafton went out, staked it where he wants a conservation mark, and I've been obeying by that. I'm just asking if I could move that 15 feet northeastward, just so I can maintain that little area for, like, so my daughter can go out there. She's become an avid birder. I'm looking to put maybe just like a picnic table there, just in that small area.
So the current marker is in
So
the
the
red
current
circle?
marker, I'm sorry, is yellow.
Okay.
I'm asking to move it to the red circle. And I did, I might have sent Mike the wrong bit, and then I highlighted a little area, and it's not in that, that's,
For the fence.
yeah, for the fence, it might have been there. So that area, I'm asking also, trying to kill two birds, just put like a split rail fence to border my property between 261 Canal, which is Valentine Trust. They're good people there. I just want to put a split rail fence. Bottom rail will be high enough so wildlife can get underneath. Not looking to block anybody's views, not looking to do anything crazy. I just overheard they might have summer rentals there. Not opposed to that, understand we live in an area like that. I just want a little barrier, you know what I mean, for just as, it's not a privacy fence, just like a split rail fence, like the bottom picture would show. That's just an example of what it would look like. Just something simple like that. And again, I'm looking to maintain just that little area in front of it so I can put a picnic table or whatever, and just to look at the views of the Cut River. I also like to add, I'm sorry to waste your time, I just want to, already moved my house 10 feet away from the buffer zone. I got rid of an oil tank. This is the kind of, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no problem.
Are there other conservation markers?
Yeah, so,
A line of them?
yeah, so F2, F4, F6, F8, F11 on my, it's time, I'm sorry, I wish I blew that up for you, but.
No, it's okay.
I installed them already, all in there, and there was three other, the green that I installed, I should have said as a thing that I had already installed to mark, my land away from the town land. Billy Grafton wanted me to do that, I did it, wasn't an issue. So I moved the current dwelling, the house I built 10 feet away, got rid of this old dirty tank, off my property. I removed 2 sheds off my property. I think that's a positive thing. I'm just trying to preach to you guys. Remove previous neighbors, their debris, trash, rocks, lawn debris, like I said there. I got rid of all that stuff. And in between me and Doug, I don't know if I should say his name, Doug, one of my good friends. He lives at 25 Creek, I'm 15. In between our properties, we removed a bunch of construction debris that was there from the previous owner. And then I also emailed Mike today, and I wish I put in this. We've been trying to preserve the cedar trees, me and Doug, with tie downs, come alongs. Joe's probably seen me out there fighting around doing a bunch of stuff, trying to preserve them. Those are just examples of this rope trying to save them. And I'm just trying to show you guys positive stuff, and I'm asking just to cut a small, so that's the yellow. That yellow is what I'm just looking to maintain, that small area, just to put a picnic table, or my daughter can put a camera up on the picnic table, watch birds, whatever. She found her niche and she wants to do something like that. And this is part of it.
So what is in that area right now that you
So-
can't touch?
It's just marsh. It's just like salt marsh area. But I used to rent, not to get in deep of this, I used to rent 261 Canal as a kid, my family, and that area used to always be maintained. And I know this because it was in 1994, I don't mean to say dates, but I was in that backyard playing wiffle ball when O.J. Simpson was doing his Ford Bronco spree. And I remember. That's the only date I can remember. But I know that was always maintained. But fast forward to now, I have stopped cutting there, up into the blue, I've stopped. I'm just asking if I can just bank it back northeastward to the red and cut that and call it a day.
Mike, can you back up to the plot plan and blow it
Yeah.
up so we can see what the resource areas are, what we're
Yeah,
talking
that's
about?
what I want to see where we are.
Sorry, that's
So this is
Not
the,
the best.
that's the original as-built. So a shed to be removed, got rid of that. That other shed by the red circle, shed, where it says shed, that's Sayonara gone.
So this entire site is within FEMA zone AE. This is the limit of lawn up here at the time.
sorry, that's not the best resolution site picture.
It's
Apologize.
kind of my fault, I sent them the best picture.
Is you bringing in a little more where you lose it, or
What was that, Bert? Sorry.
if you enlarge it a little more, will you lose the resolution, or?
I cut, if you don't mind, I can point out where I put my markers, and if you want me to.
So the markers run, it's like 2,
So I
4,
got 2, 4, 6,
6,
8.
8.
I don't think he had me put one there. I think I put one, no, I did put one there where the bullet thing is, then boom. He didn't have one there on 10. He didn't want me to put one there, but it's marked there. And he wanted me to put one at 11. And so I'm just asking, can I move 11 to the red circle at 10? And maintain that small area there.
So you want to put a picnic table
Yep.
relative to the footprint of the old shed there, where would the picnic?
Yeah, just a
table
little
be?
for, if you look, a little more downward, like where the marker is there. I mean, I just, not to preach the choir, I've kind of done a lot of positives with the property. I'm all about nature. I'm from Everett, and I came down here, love nature, love being down there. I'm just asking for that small little area. I respect the process. I didn't want to go ahead and do it, and it become an issue with granted, probably nobody would have noticed it, but just out of respect to the process of what goes on in this town.
So is it, could you leave the marker there and still put the picnic table there?
Well, it's just overgrown and kind of like, I just want to maintain, it's not much.
So the reason you want to move the marker is so you can cut,
Yeah, just so I can cut that small area.
Cut that area.
If you want me to leave the marker there, I will, and let me, I'm not opposed to that either. I just don't want to,
and what you would be cutting would be marsh grass.
yeah, but as I said, it used to be maintained.
Yeah.
I gave it up. I had bigger fish to fry. I had to build my house twice. Joe Ring knows about it. Rather than fighting the commission over a little more, I had bigger fish to fry than deal with this. But now it's kind of settled in, and that's just all I'm asking now.
Joe, are you familiar with where this is?
Yeah, he's close to the 25, and that's, I think, what that line is. And some of it's Highland, well, almost Highland.
Sir,
But there was a house there before.
I made the spots and the circles there are wetland flags, so that those are along the delineation boundaries.
Okay, so if he moves that marker, he's still
Yeah,
on the wetland delineation there.
Yeah.
yeah, he's close.
He's close.
Yeah.
Opinions?
I find this a difficult one because you want to encourage the young ones to be interested in preserving and everything.
And given who your next door neighbor is, I know why your daughter wants to be a birder.
Is there a way for us to say the table is all right and the cleaning of the area to support the table use? And then when she's no longer interested in that,
Let it
It just-
revert.
I don't mean to like bust chops here. It's just such a small area, like,
yeah.
I'm sure I have a lot of people have important, real important stuff going on. I kind of feel guilty going first, and I'm asking just for this little, you know what I mean?
I appreciate,
just gonna do
I
it.
appreciate your coming in.
But I know a lot of
That's
people
what we
walk
like to
by.
see.
I have a
I'm just trying to do the right thing.
Could he just mow it and have the condition that you don't replace it with turf grass or anything?
Oh,
else?
absolutely.
Just
I am-
mow it,
I-
not down to the
I'm
ground and let it
I'm
come
not gonna
back.
put filter, I'm not gonna put fertilizer. I'm just gonna mow it, put that thing there, see you later. Winter comes,
Leave
I'll
it.
move the thing out of there, cause it's, just in case, whatever reason. That's all, I won't put fill. You can etch that in stone.
I can live with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so, and I'd say just leave the markers, and, you know, if it gets abused, we'll
Yeah.
Know where it was.
So
Absolutely.
issue a DMA with the condition that ground covering will remain pervious, or cutting
that the-
is only allowed.
natural.
Natural
Right,
vegetation.
natural vegetation, which we will permit to be mown
Minimally.
minimally for the
Not-
purposes
And then we'll
of
come back in the.
having a
you know,
ta- a
move
picnic
the
table.
table
Yeah,
out, it'll.
yeah. I'll just, during that season, I'll just cut it.
Yep,
I'm not looking to put a basketball court down, just,
yep.
you'll see. It's a high busy area. People always walk by, not looking at car trouble.
Okay.
Regarding the split rail fence, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, split
Oh,
rail
yeah,
fence.
sorry.
Where will the fence
It'll
be?
be, so, that other picture might give you my,
Yeah, I'll just,
but it's essentially from the yellow mark all the way down to the bottom. It's approximately 30 feet. See that? So the top
Along
of
the-
that yellow is where the, top of the blue, sorry, is where the yellow marker was. And just going down to the edge of my property.
And
where's
is-
the property border?
Is that in the marsh?
No, it's like right on the property line, of which not marsh, which is 261 Canal, the bottom, that's Valentine Trust. I'm just looking to, like I said, just put a strip rail fence there, so, just as a barrier, like I said.
And that's not marsh?
It's the,
No, that's the
It's,
the
that's
rear of,
the rear of the,
rear
the
of
people's
261.
parcels, yeah.
I'll just put it right on my property, not going in, Tim Shanahan, 261 Canal, he's a good dude, like. um,
His drawing shows it just inside the wetland marks.
just inside the wetland mark?
Yep.
Well, I just put it on, I was just,
Can I?
I just put it right on the property line, bang.
I want to put it a little back, but that's
Yeah,
your choice.
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll coordinate with Tim, he's, like I said, he's good people, but,
If neighbors agree, makes it easy, right?
yeah, I mean, it's just a split right, it's not blocking views, wildlife can go up and around if they wanna, they can do whatever they want, but just as a fair.
I'm fine.
Fence? You're okay?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize she was looking at me.
Yeah, now, does that require anything from the building department?
Oh, boy. Are you in a floodplain? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
I believe he would be, yeah. You have to obtain a floodplain permit.
yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I'll do whatever you guys want, like, I'll go through the process, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a business item, so
Yeah.
from our standpoint, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
but we just
matter.
wanna-
Yeah.
Wanna make sure he does the right thing.
Yeah, I'll go to Andrew Stewart, he knows me very well.
Yeah, you might want to run
Yeah,
run it
you
by
might.
Andrew.
I'll ask him, so, but am I, with regards to, I was able to kill two birds, like, I'm good with you guys, I'll go to Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
He's good people, and then,
Okay, well, I think are we in agreement that,
Leaving the post where it is and
And-
minimal activity as you can manage,
Absolutely.
and then move
right,
the,
and then the
that out at
fence?
the end of the season, and let it come back.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I make a motion that we allow the fence and minimal mowing and a picnic table
yeah, it's pressure treated. picnic
to be
table.
placed
Anyway.
there on, that's a non-permanent item. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. But check in with Andrew
Absolutely,
before you do the fence work, and, yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
Okay, B3, Red Gold Farm, and I see,
Yes.
I went over this with Michael last week briefly. As you know, Red Gold Farm is off of Moraine Street, in the middle of construction. On the bottom half of this plan, blocking the crowd here, is the approved driveways for these, two of these lots. Lot 21, lot 20 is just a tiny piece. This is the upper riparian, about 200 feet from the river. This is the lower. Brook is across the street on the other side of Moraine Street. So what I'd like to do is, rather than build this driveway up through here, I'd like to do a common drive, tying in Red Gold Farm Road, come across, and then move back up to Moraine Street. So these people that have access to the south side of the way, they wouldn't have to come out into the direction. You have that,
Yep. This one?
this one. So that's what it would look like as it pertains to you. This, of course, is outside of the riparian. So it really doesn't pertain to the commission. So this section here adds another 5,025 square feet of disturbance, bringing the total from 4.5% up to 5.22 of the total area of the section. What
and,
we're trying to do here is kind of connect these three 400 lots and Marine Street lots to the project for walking and vehicles. Of course, if they want to head south, they can come out that way. To meet the requirements of the planning board, and I don't have the planning board approval yet, we'd have to build at least a crushed stone driveway here. Because they require that the driveways access away across their own frontage. So for instance, lot 21 has frontage of Moraine Street from here to here, so by law I must, but what I proposed to Greg was to do a crushed stone driveway here, and really this would be the driveway. The crushed stone driveway would just meet the letter of the law only, and be less disturbance. Now, we are permitted with the state for these curb cuts as originally planned. Separate driveways are on Moraine Street. This would be an additional cost, but also put utilities in this. We're gonna go underground electric to these houses. The water lines will go in that driveway. I would landscape, I'll put some screening and landscaping down here. Currently, there exists a really pretty nice tree buffer in this strip to maintain, and then I'd extend with some more landscaping. I just think this makes a much nicer layout for these houses on that state highway.
so lot 21 and the one to the right of it, is that
Yeah.
22 or?
No, it's the other way around.
Okay.
It's 20.
2021.
19, this is, so it's affected 20, 21, and it actually affects 22 because there's an easement across, but of course that driveway comes up here as originally.
So 20 and 21 would both have a crushed stone access.
Right.
Still onto Moraine Street.
Correct. Right.
Aren't there septics in that?
Yeah, well, they're all up in here. I'm sorry. This lot 22 does have a septic here. That was included in the original disturbance, right? These, because we couldn't get good soils in the back. I don't have that system designed yet. I would. I could go back out there and do some tests to see if I can push that system out into the backyard. Get this rid of this area. That would almost wait in total disturbance.
So
I
we're
don't
looking-
know. I can't guarantee that we can get good soils back.
No, go ahead.
We can see the riparian lines. Are there wetland lines there too? Once again, Mike, can you
Yeah,
pull
there
this
is.
thing up?
It's really hard to see, but it's very close to this 100-foot. I can't remember where it is exactly. I think it's right up, right along the edge of the layout, close to this 100-foot riverfront.
So
Not the
we're-
wetland, it's 100-foot off.
So
the
where's the-
wetland's 100 feet.
I believe,
Oh, okay.
I believe
I'm
this
sorry,
is
the
the
wetland's,
100.
the wetland's off the.
Because this is a wetland flag down here, Bert, so I believe
Yep.
that this is the 100 line up here.
Oh, okay, fine,
Yeah,
fine.
It's
you're
not
right.
labeled though, but.
Yeah, and then it comes down through here.
So it's an increase in impervious, but it's further away. Because
Yeah.
you'd be substituting the crushed
Right.
stone.
I think the planning board's gonna need to put the crushed stone.
I don't have a problem with the crushed stone because it's gonna be pervious
Yeah.
anyway, so,
Yeah, I mean, it would have been asphalt otherwise.
right.
Right. There was a berm on Route 3A. So it was an asphalt berm.
It's actually a safety improvement as well.
It's
that's a
certainly a
tough-
safety improvement.
That's a tough road.
Yeah.
And I, being a businessman, of course, realize it increases the asset value of the property, I think. I think it's real.
Well, it seems that with respect to the wetland on the other side of the road, he's far enough
Yeah.
back. We have some increase in pervious, but at the same time, we're gaining a little bit if crushed stone is gonna go in those two remaining drives. And it clearly is a safety issue. That's a tough place.
So if you go back up to, or down, I don't remember which way it was. So, in the planning board regs, they require 50 feet from the curb cut to the edge of the asphalt. That's why this swings out. And that's obviously to have safe turning radiuses for vehicles entering and exiting Red Gold Farm Road.
Yeah, I don't want to undercut the planning board, but if they're okay with it, I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, but yeah, I think the planning board probably has as much or more of an interest here than we do. But I'm fine with it. Susan?
I agree. The safety issues alone are compelling, but I think we should be necessary.
I think we're-
Minimal impact to the
John?
I agree, yeah.
Ken? Okay. Then I move that we vote. Do we need to amend our orders?
Could, or this could be a de minimis activity to be captured under the as-built. Depending on how the commission feels.
You also have to put in, I think, a provision that planning, et cetera, can approve this.
Right.
And I wonder
Contingent
if we
on-
tighten it too much, does it make it difficult for him to get something that everybody likes? Not that I'm saying he can go wild, but
Mm-hmm.
our experience is he's never done that either.
And just come back with their changes that are,
Right.
Yeah.
come back to us again. So the as-built reflect this? Is there approved by all?
So, approve it as a de minimis, contingent on planning approval, and to be captured in the as-built?
We wouldn't issue this until after the planning board meeting.
I think we approve it with the provision that it gets planning approval.
That lets
But then-
Mr. Sealand take it to planning, see if it works for them, and then come back to us.
You know, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, keep it simple and more streamlined.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, you know, you vote, you know, so.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's easy.
The
Yeah.
thing I was just thinking, we have I might have given it to you, Mike, we recorded the riverfront restriction on here, talks about these lots, it doesn't give a specific square footage. So I think the same document worked fine, but we had to amend the plan, because on the back of the plan, back of the recorded easement, is that upper plan. So we'd have to do something legally with this instrument. And I can get you those copies, of course. I need to do it, right, you know, so no one goes back and looks at the old plan.
Right. So we will table this for your meeting with planning, and then come back to us, and we are amenable to it, so we just need their,
Okay.
okay. Thank you. Okay. 40 Bay Avenue, seawall repairs.
Sure, Hannaford. Is there a vote to table?
Oh,
Sealand?
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I move that we vote to table the discussion of the change in Red Gold Farm driveway. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All right, B4, 40 Bay Avenue, seawall repairs. Someone here?
Is Conrad Eder or Rod Procaccino on this call? So we received, I'll speak on this one, received this request from Mr. Eder. This is his seawall here. Rod Procaccino, the town engineer, has some real concerns that given its condition, if it fails, it could jeopardize other parts of the seawall. Mr. Eder, with the agreement of Rod Procaccino, request to have this covered under the DPW seawall permit 2808, and that any work done on Mr. Eder's property be captured under the as-built. They're going to access this area for general seawall repairs soon, and they wanted to have access to Eder's property here to ensure that the seawall doesn't fail and jeopardize other parts of the seawall.
That seawall is in very tough shape.
I can see that just looking at the photograph. And Rod Procaccino is okay with,
Yeah, he gave me a call this afternoon giving me full endorsement of this proposed activity.
as long as, you know, the town engineer thinks it can be covered under the current permit, 2808.
All work would be done under those special conditions as well. The special conditions would be honored. This would essentially just be, they're working on that length of seawall, and it's essentially just adding another parcel and section of seawall to that proposal.
I think they're gonna put a thickness of concrete on the front of it
On the front.
with rebar into the existing.
Well, that,
Just to clarify, is this his private seawall, or is this town seawall that happens to be in front of his house?
I believe that this is his private seawall. This would just be, his seawall's in pretty tough shape, so this would just be applying the special conditions to that town project to his personal seawall, ensuring that gets done in a timely manner.
You can see the damage from that section against, because this is abutting where the Brighton Street stairs are. And
Yeah,
you can
there's the
see the
staircase here.
damage into the Brighton Street stairwell that's getting promoted by that section of seawall. And that has got huge cracks deep into that wall. And so I'm sure Rod's concerned about that crashing and then taking out the corners of both
Yeah.
the seawall he just fixed.
Makes sense, take care of it.
Yeah, I think
Fortunately, Rod
that
couldn't make it.
definitely,
Mr. Eater couldn't as well.
yeah. I didn't realize there were like private seawalls mixed with public. Well, it clearly needs attention, and I think we need to, are you okay, Bert, or?
I think so, although, I mean, this isn't gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
We need to get a better explanation of.
Of exactly
It's already
what's,
started.
I have,
It's already started.
it's already started, the
Well, then
work.
it is, okay.
It's happening tomorrow.
this narrative too from Conrad is posted on Google Drive too, but in case any commissioner wanted to reference that.
So,
more.
Mr. Eider is organizing this work himself with his own contractor?
Yes.
So I assume he is paying for this work?
Yes, that's my understanding.
It's his property, it's his contractor, but they're going to piggyback on the town's, the DPW's work
Yes.
NOI.
Yep. I'm gonna piggyback on that permit essentially.
So I guess that makes sense, it's all the same resource areas.
Right,
You know, it would be
and
done under
it's
the
the
same,
same-
same order of conditions, so.
Wait,
Mr.
Mayor
DeMayo?
Hartman. So I can definitely attest to the damage that happens down there is quite frequent. I know the town is working on dredge beach nourishment in that area, which will help in the future. But I think by having the same permit, it ensures that the town and Rod has some oversight of what actually gets built there, so it kind of mirrors all the engineering on that seawall. So
Right.
that part's not different and doesn't fail in the future, so I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, thank you. In that case, I move that we vote to encompass 40 Bay Ave seawork repair under the DPW SE 422808 permit. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. B5, 310 Arrowhead Road, de minimis versus a request for amended orders. I believe this is a change to the planting plan.
Yes, ma'am, a little bit of a change to the planting plan, increasing, actually. So the plan that was required by the order of conditions is still in place, so it would be extending that farther to the west and to the north. So you'd see right around where Mike's cursor just was, starting with those large green trees. That would all be in addition to what's outlined in the order of conditions. The primary issue is that the original design as drawn by Merrill had impervious surface going up to the foundation of the house. Now that the pool is in place and we know the true elevation of it, it would cause some drainage issues coming back from the backside of the house down towards the pool area and into the wetlands. So we're looking to do a reallocation of the impervious surface to the north and west of the pool surface itself, or the pool area itself. Net overall increase is 52 square feet, so shade over 3%. It increased the native species that are in place by roughly an additional 1,000 square feet. So that's the additional parts that you would see moving to the west and to the north.
And this was the original plan that was proposed, so you can see the plantings kind of are expanded around this area.
And the area around the pool is impervious? the pool deck?
It would be impervious, yes.
So you're gonna have runoff, and the idea is to add vegetation to capture that?
That's correct. Trying to do, see if I can get the terminology right. Interplanted boulder wall to assist with the water filtration as it's coming down off the back and hold back any of the erosion on some of the steeper areas.
Mike, do you have any,
I think adding plantings around the proposed pool area would be a benefit to capture any runoff from that impervious surface. I believe that this proposed planting plan is a lot more expansive than this was the proposed. So in the proposed versus the new deviation that's proposed, this is more, it kind of wraps around the disturbed area a lot more, and
can you just go back to the original so I can see
Yep.
the
Yeah, it's-
wetland lines?
the wetlands are back here.
Yep, wetlands in blue, and then that next green line being the 25-foot buffer. So in the plan that we were looking at previously, everything still stays outside of the 25. So there's no encroachment there.
Was there an impervious table on this plan?
Not on this vegetation plan, no.
I mean, I suspect the percentage of impervious is still pretty low for the whole lot.
Yeah, yeah. And, more plants, that's a good thing.
The original impervious was, if I can get my numbers right, 1,435 square feet. It's being increased to 1,480, so 82. So 52 square feet.
Okay, that's minimal.
And your total lot is an acre, or?
Yes, sir. Acre.
Okay, so
Yeah,
compared to 40,000, so
right, yeah.
negligible.
I have no problem with this. I think it's probably a betterment from
Yeah.
the original. Okay. I move that we vote to approve this as a de minimis activity. And you haven't built the pool yet?
The pool is in the ground, but we haven't done any hardscape.
You haven't done any hardscaping?
That's correct.
So will there'll be a final as-built plan?
It will.
Okay, so this will be captured in the as-built. May I have a second?
Second.
Susan Karen?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Item B6. On January 18th, the January 18th, 2023 meeting, during the chair's address, I stated that that anyone needing a conservation permit must first fill out a floodplain permit. In doing so, I committed an oversight. Per our policy and procedure manual, changes may be brought forward and motioned by any member of the commission. However, such a change shall be communicated to the commission in writing at least one meeting prior to that item being placed on the agenda. So, in the interest of following our procedure properly, I propose to provide this change in writing to the commission, and then having it placed on the April 19th, 2023 agenda for discussion and vote.
I'd second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. I got a little bit out over my skis on that one. On to the public hearings. The first being 103 Mayflower Lane.
There's old business as well.
Ooh,
New agenda
oh,
change.
yeah. Old business, Rote Marine, 2205 Main Street. We had Mr. Rote in front of us late last, or actually about a year
Last
ago,
spring.
last spring.
Right before boating season.
And he came in with a proposal to, one, repave his drive down into the property, and two, to replace the boat ramp, the concrete boat with concrete slabs going in. He performed the repaving, and when he did so, he exceeded the parameters of what he had been permitted for. We let that go, assuming that when he came back for the ramp repair, we could capture it all. He has since decided to not go forward with the ramp repair. So we have some unpermitted activity hanging out there that we have not captured. So I think we need to send a letter to Rote Marine telling him we need to amend the permit that work was performed under. And we need to have an as-built showing the actual paving work that was done so that we can revisit this and cover everything the work he did under that NOI request. Anyone have anything to add or comment on?
No, makes sense. Want a record of what's there.
Of what's there, which we lack now, and it's just sort of hanging out there. So I move that we have Mike prepare a letter to Rote Marine asking for an amendment to the, amending the orders of conditions and getting a new as-built that shows the work, the scope of the work that was actually done.
Perfect.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now, on to public hearings. The first being 103 Mayflower Lane. This is a new hearing. I will read the legal ad. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, to consider the request for determination of applicability filed by Mr. Walton at 103 Mayflower Lane, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Dodd.
Mike, can you confirm the administrative requirements, taxes,
Yep.
floodplain permit?
Taxes, floodplain. The met,
Yep. And is anyone here to present the project, or you want me to add them?
Paul Walton, 103 Mayflower Lane, just get permission to put a shed on my property. Originally, the permit says I was gonna put it on cement blocks on grade, but I've changed that to the diamond pier system. I know the building department has asked me to put blowout panels on each side of my shed. I will talk to Andrew about that as far as location.
So, I've reviewed, the setbacks, everything seems to align. It's, just a single-family home with no detached or garage currently, so this would obviously be a benefit. There's no septic to note, and currently he already had a permit on this, and he's just looking to get another permit. So I guess at this time, we'll open up to commissioners. All right, so I guess we're gonna open it up to anyone on Zoom or anyone in the audience. And then, Mike, do you have anything to comment?
Nope. Yeah, like the homeowner just stated, it was originally proposed on concrete blocks. We confirmed that's going to be diamond pure footings, and then the location of the flood vents would be sorted out with the building commissioner, who's also the floodplain coordinator. That will be captured under our permit as obtain all pertinent permits. Yep.
So,
Are you putting it up high enough so that it won't flood, or low enough?
If my property floods, we'll all be underwater right here. But yeah, it's supposedly gonna be about 1.5 to 2 feet above the existing grade right now.
alright. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion for a positive determination, special conditions. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
It would be a positive determination, 5 and -3.
Thank you, Mike.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
And continue.
I know, I apologize, I am,
Switch up the order of our agenda.
yeah, we,
Yeah.
we redesigned the agenda, and clearly I am having trouble. So I am going to do continuations. We have 274 Foster Ave, SE 422958. This has been continued to 6/21/23. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 146 Dakota Street, SE 423024. They have requested a continuation to April 19th. I move that we grant that. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 60 Foster Ave, SE 4230. 3015, thank you. They have requested a continuation to April 19th. I move that we grant that. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. 17 Oregon Road, SE 422990, has requested a continuation to April 19th. I move that we grant that. May I have a second?
Second.
You can have them all, John.
We need to have a strategy.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, do I have everything, Mike? 46? Are we hearing Trounce Island tonight?
I haven't received a continuation request for Trounce Island.
Okay. Okay, next up, we have 31 Water Street. This is a new hearing. I will read the legal ad. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, to consider the request for determination at 31 Water Street. And I am the hearing officer. Can you confirm administrative requirements
Yes,
are in line?
Besides the DP number, DP number has not been issued for 31 Water Street. We
Okay.
have not received it, at least.
In that case, I move to continue this hearing to April 19th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Without any discussion on the case, because there's not a,
Well,
I mean, we're here to talk about the project.
okay, we can discuss, but we will need to continue.
Well, I know you can't.
Yeah.
set the hearing, yes, but I would like to discuss.
Okay. Are you here to present, Rick? or-
Yes. I'm Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor, professional land surveyor. So basically, we have an existing house down here on Water Street. We've got some resource areas that we're dealing with. I know you guys are quite familiar with the area down here. Barrier Beach, we've got Salt Marsh across the street, which we're within the 100-foot buffer of. We're in a flood zone, an AE11. And the rear of the project is actually in the outer riparian, the 200-foot outer riparian. You see where it cuts through the back of the building there. So part of it is in there. It's all existing structure, of course. What the applicant is proposing is there's an existing porch on the back of the house today. They're gonna want to raise that existing porch and put a new porch, basically the same footprint as you can see. It's actually a little bit smaller, but it's be a two-story structure with a deck above. Porch below with an open deck above. They'll be eliminating this walk-around catwalk on the side. The deck wraps around the side, picks up this. That will be going away. And on the front of the building, on the street side, there's an existing deck that they're proposing a home addition there. Extend that 11 feet towards the street. We're in process with the floodplain permit right now on this particular one. That will be, it's a first floor addition, but it's up overhead. It's about 7 feet off the ground, and just the way the lot slopes. But the addition on the front and the new reconstructed porch and deck system in the back. We do have a slight increase in impervious area of 58 square feet. Most of the work is proposed on top of existing structure. So that's why only the small increase. It's mostly that what was taken off the side of the home and not going to be put back. There will be a new elevated utility platform on that side of the house to meet flood regulations, but essentially that's what the project is replacing the rear porch with a new porch and a deck above, and the home addition on the street side of the house.
And I believe I spoke with Mr. Musto yesterday, and he believes that big footings are required to bear the load.
Mike and I spoke about the footing. The plans that show would appear to be like a precast or a big foot footing, which I know the commission isn't desirable for those. I prefer like a sonotube setup or something other than the Bigfoot, right?
Well, that's my question. Can something other than the Bigfoot?
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem like tremendous load. It's the covered the deck.
You'll get a two-story deck in the back there, which and Mr. Rockwood is here to speak more about the loading, but yes, so the two-story in the back and then an addition in the front. I know there's some steel beam in the front, so that's why they were proposed, working with the structural team, but for holding it up. But
So if I may, so on the front.
Would you identify?
Dick Rockwood Design, sorry. On the, which your right side is a front, so that's a extension to the house, bedroom and kitchen, one-story addition. But the intent is to be able to drive under that addition, at least the nose of the car, parking off the street. Because of that, I have a beam that's 16 or 18 feet across, so I end up with more point loads. It's not a situation where there's like footings every 6 feet or so. And so I had this whole discussion with my structural engineer today. And between the gravity and a lot of it has to do with the uplift with all the 120 mile an hour wind load and all that. So he's gonna need some sort of a footing, at least on those front ones, which is all right now, it's all paved in that area. The back ones, we might be able to, reduce the size of them. That was just my general note of a footing on there. Now I take it to the structural engineer and work that out with him. But as I said in my conversation today, I need something. It is a two-story deck in the back, but especially on the front. Because there's really only 2 footings there, perhaps 3, one at either side of the stairway, and then there's a large opening. So you end up with this concentrated load, and it's hard not to meet all the codes for between the bearing and the uplift in that corner. So we could reduce it, but I will, I still have to go by his calculations of what he has to have. I know if I was building a new house, we'd be putting in piles, but where this is already existing with a concrete foundation, this existing house, there's no way we can, substitute something like that, so.
I'm more concerned with the back.
Okay. Then you are with the front?
Speaking only for myself, than the front. you know,
That's the deck extension. I have more area where I can put in more footings.
if you could, if there is an alternative, you know, in general, as Rick said, we frown on the disturbance required, particularly in a coastal dune, sensitive area. So if there were an alternative, certainly in the back and in the front, yeah, I don't know, that's,
If I have to do that, yeah, well, I mean, you know, with this, even with the sonotubes, it's above capacity. So, you know, my engineer always says, well, I need 30 inches, shall I do a 30-inch sonotube? Which is kind of silly, you know, because you're still digging a hole that big. And a lot of times, because it's sand, I think it's primarily sand there, it depends on what you get underneath. You have to go in with a machine to dig it anyways, because everything keeps falling in the hole. So even if it was a narrower sonotube, you still have to do the same amount of disruption. So, you know, I know what the intent is, I know, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll have a better idea once he kind of gets the calculator and engineers these things, which I now have in the process of working on. But it's hard not to be able to have something there of substance, so.
okay,
Partly because of the uplift, the window on the corners.
right. Mike, do you have comments?
My comment too would be that the building commissioner still needs an elevation certificate for this property regarding some improvements done in the early 2000s. So you should probably give him a call and talk about that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the building commissioner, the house had a new foundation and addition in 2002, and there is no record of any closeout documentation
Okay.
on that work. It was a substantial improvement, so it had to be brought into compliance with foundation and utilities. He needs an elevation certificate, and he wants to have a substantial improvement determination if it is not elevated to the current design flood elevation. So you have some issues with Andrew.
Yeah.
So you also need a special permit from ZBA.
So we know that everything was compliant, it has all the opening vents around, and to the point that even there's a furnace in the basement below, but it's hung, and it was actually surveyed to be at the proper height to be above the flood zone. So all that stuff was done, it's just a matter of finding whatever he needs for documents, so we'll work that out. So I know there's no major issue with it.
Okay,
Because that had all been followed through and inspected or whatever, but we'll
Okay.
get to the bottom of that. I'll see Andrew tomorrow.
other commissioner comment?
Mike, are you satisfied with the delineation of the dune and the beach and all that?
Let me reference that.
We had it right at the back of the concrete pad that was there, Mike. I mean.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. It's currently where the dune-like environment is. Like Rick said, this whole area over here is paved or pavered up until pretty much the street. So that whole dune system and everything else really starts beyond the hardscape.
There's a lot of, all these paths are delineated with stones.
Yeah, almost cobbles. And the paver and concrete pad look like they've been there for some time.
Yeah, they're quite old.
Yeah.
The applicant told me he would ideally like to remove the concrete pad in the future, but that is not part of his plan currently. Anyone else? Well, we have to continue this for the
DEP number.
the DEP number.
Yep.
And I would like to see a more definitive,
Footing set up.
Footing.
Well, non-foot.
right,
Foundation set up.
non-Bigfoot if possible, and, so how, when would you like to continue to,
I'd like
do you
to
think?
continue to the next available hearing. We're gonna work with Andrew through this.
Work with
and get
Andrew, that's
substantial
enough time
compliance.
to,
If not,
Okay.
continue it. Plenty of time for the next hearing, but we're gonna try it for the next one.
okay.
Absolutely.
In that case, I move once again to continue this to the April 19th meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay. 51 Secaunet Avenue. This is a new hearing. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 5th, 2020, to consider the determination of applicability filed for 51 Secaunet Avenue. And the hearing officer is Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Mike, all the administrative requirements have been
Taxes,
met?
fees, abutters have been met, yep.
Okay. Rick, you're out here to present?
Yes.
So,
Rick Savant with Senbeck and Taylor. We have here an existing home that the homeowner is proposing to demolish or construct a new home on the site. We have a wetland area across Secaunet, as you can see delineated there, with the buffer zones reach onto the lot. We also, there's a flood zone at the front of the lot, but as you can see with the blue line here is the break between the floodplain and the zone X is on the, so we're actually not in the floodplain for the existing or the new homes. So but we are within the buffer there. So they're gonna remove the existing home and build a new home on the lot. The lot's all lawn and previously disturbed area there. There's no major tree clearing or anything that needs to be done. They're proposing just a standard concrete foundation and, just enlarge the home. It's an old cottage. I don't know if anybody had a chance to get down there and look at
Yep.
it, but.
Yep, I saw it.
Yep, they just want to put that new structure up. We're slightly inside the 75 foot. As you can see, it just clips the front right corner of that house there. But the original house was built in 52, I believe. And certainly well in the 25 street. Yeah, built in 1950, excuse me. So yeah, that's basically what we're hoping to do. The thing's pretty clean, we're just gonna get rid of the other house and put a new one there. Just mostly between the 75 and the 100-foot buffer.
yeah. Yep. No, I went out and saw the site on Friday. Impervious coverage is gonna go up slightly. I think that's because I don't think there was a driveway there. They're gonna add a driveway.
Yeah, no part, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'd
So,
also like to point out, excuse me, Sean, that impervious coverage, I included the whole lot on that.
Yep.
A lot of times I do the buffer zone coverage when the whole lot's not in it, when it's not in a floodplain, but.
Yep.
So those numbers are for the whole entire parcel. So a lot of
Yep.
that area is actually outside
Yeah.
the buffer.
Yep. And as you can see, not only is it, beyond the 50-foot buffer zone, but you have two paved roadways between the house, the lot, and the buffer zone. So it looked pretty clear-cut to me. Andrew weighed in. He said, basically, as you said, it's no activity proposed within the flood zone, and all he needs is a regular building permit, and he's satisfied. So I think, I don't know if there's anyone in the audience has any comments on this project? Any of the commissioners? Any comments? Anybody online? Any comments? So, in the absence of any comments or further discussion, Mike, you have special conditions?
Yep, the standard special conditions would apply here, and also an insert under during duration of work, ensure that there's erosion control in place, which you have noted on your plan, and then after construction, please provide an elevation certificate.
Would we need that, Mike?
No, actually, since the corner of the property that is, there's no work going on in the flood zone, so actually
No.
an elevation cert.
No, that's why,
would be-
I brought,
Yep.
so that, we don't need
Yep.
that.
No.
It's in our notes, but.
You can cross that out.
Yeah, okay. So, in consideration, consistent with those special conditions, I'd like to make a motion that we issue the orders of condition. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Rick. That
Again, thank you.
was one of the easiest ones I've seen so far.
Why can't they all, yeah, exactly.
They all be like that.
Okay. Next up, new hearing. I have a general one.
I got it
You
here,
have there?
if
That's
you
okay,
need
I can plug it in. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, to consider the notice of intent filed by the Marshfield Harbor Master for 100 Central Street, Green Harbor Maintenance and Dredging. The hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Yeah, Mike, could you confirm DEP number and abutters?
Yep.
And taxes are waived because
Yeah,
it's
it's a municipal property.
town? Have we got,
What is the DEP number?
It is 3034, SC 423034.
Thank you.
very good. Who'll be presenting this?
Good evening, Bert. Mike DeMille, Harbor Master, also on the line. Our consultant Christine Player from Falth Engineering is on the call. She's a little under the weather, so she felt best to stay home and work from home. I'll take most of the questions. If she needs to play backup, that's fine. But most of the project is.
Mike?
Yes.
Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. This is not the correct dredge plan that I'm looking at here. Is this
That's the borings plan. That's a geotechnical
right?
borings.
The dredge plan. This is not the correct plan. I don't know why this is. This is the improvement project. I'm not sure. I don't know where you guys got this plan.
Well, the good news is I bought hard copies.
Oh, Mike, you print. So, yeah, no, this is not the dredging.
Thank you,
plan that
Christine. I can pull up the
came
correct
with the-
plans. Thank you.
I have them here as well. Just to go over.
One second.
Can I share my screen to bring it up, or do you guys have what you need? I apologize.
Do we have it here, Mike? or-
Yep, I do. I'm just pulling it up right now. Sorry, it's some lag here.
Yeah, they have it here, Christina, in hand.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure where this one came from. I'm a little surprised to see it, but what was submitted is correct, right, with the application, the full-size plans. There you go.
Yeah.
Great. Sorry to interrupt, just want to make sure. Oh, no, this is it. This is all very process.
How about we share our screen?
Yeah, how about you share your screen, Christine? That seems like the best solution here.
Yeah, again, let me just improvise here. 1 second. Okay, give me 1 second here, get my screen going. Alright, so for me to, I can share my screen here. Hopefully you guys are gonna see this. Okay, that's here. right, like, saying the dredge plan?
Yep.
Okay, and then just let me know, Mike, when you want to talk about the channel, that's the second sheet, I can just flip up.
So I
That
think, Mike
appears.
DeMayo, you're on.
Oh, sorry, Christine. So, as Christine brought up, this is the dredge plan. It's very similar to what we did 10 years ago in 2009, 2010. For this area, I think the dredge volumes are roughly 4,300 cubic yards for this area. The smaller portion in the back is where the 95-foot offloading wall is for the fishermen at a high tide, mid-tide plus. It doesn't impact the pier because you can't get too close to the pier because you'll undermine it. So what I did bring to it, which I want to show you, is this town project is part and parcel to the Army Corps project, which, I'm not sure, Christine, do you have the Army Corps survey? But basically, the town's portion is here, and this borders the federal anchorage, which represents this line right here. So we dredge, they dredge, everyone gets down to 7 feet mean low water, so there's no slumping of areas into the channel or to the pier area. So if we all dredge at the same time, it makes things much simpler. And that's kind of what's represented right here. So, anything else to add on this one, Christine?
Just excuse me for my here. So we've got the South Basin, the North Pier Basin, and then right in between, this is all maintenance, but -6 plus a 1 foot overdredge. And behind the North Pier is the seawall floating basin, which is only dredged to +2. This area is only accessible in high tide. It's also was previously dredged, so this is a maintenance dredge area as well. So everything proposed with the vicinity of town landing is routine maintenance dredging, and it's typically done on an approximate 10-year basis.
So, in this slide, same as the prior one, this proposed dredging area here is technically new. It borders Green Harbor Marina. It comes off the edge of the very edge of the federal anchorage. You can see the federal anchorage is actually, there's no showing here, but when you come down to here, it really bumps up to 2.3, I think 1.9, and this is in low water, so on a negative tide, you would almost have no water at all in that area, which kind of impacts a lot of the commercial boats that are in that marina. We're not dredging Green Harbor Marina, we're dredging the town's portion of land. Green Harbor Marina already came before you last year. They're dredging their own portion, but we wanted to make sure that all the transect lines and borders all met, so there's no humps and valleys in the dredge footprint. No different than when we do it at Taylor Marine as well. So they'll be dredging to, I think they're -6, -7 as well, and everything's all flat. So everything kind of is the same level once we dredge. So, and that's, I think, roughly 4,399 cubic yards of material.
And that hasn't been dredged in the past, Mike?
No, nope. I think a lot of it.
Throughout the white area has not, gray area has been. So there's improvement and maintenance dredging. The gray area that you see shaded, which is maintenance, many years ago, the Green Harbor Marina actually occupied that area. So there's record evidence that it has been dredged before, not necessarily by the town. Hopefully you can see my little hand here. If you come to the solid dark line where you're right adjacent to the marina floats, that is the basin area that the marina will be dredging, and last dredged about 10 years ago as well, when the town last dredged at the landing. They redefined their dredge basin. So the gray area that's related to the town channel has indeed been dredged before. The white area is expanded area dredging to allow for proper tie into the federal dredging basin, as well as to give adequate water sheet area for boats to maneuver in and out of the marina. And then there's quite a lengthy analysis that was presented in the notice of intent that describes everything that went into consideration. Make sure that this channel we're presenting here can support the vessels that utilize the harbor without egregiously dredging, infinitely through the inner part of the harbor. harbor here. So there was, again, a deep, in-depth analysis on how these limits were defined. But the idea, as Mike said, is to tie in the marina basin that will have this new channel, and this channel will tie into the very westerly limit of the federal anchorage that's going to be dredged by the Army Corps and is maintained as a federal channel area.
I have that right here as well. Actually, I can probably leave it if you want. It's basically essentially down here. This is where the federal anchorage ends, and this is the extension, which you're seeing right up in there. So, and all the red on here, just so you know, is that's all shoaling. That's all that has to be dredged. But the good news is the Army Corps pays for all that. The town's just paying for this little portion and the portion along the pier. The federal portion is roughly 56,000 cubic yards. We're at 8,000 cubic yards. And all the materials go into Cape Cod Bay, which is in the notice of intent.
So
Yes,
basically.
it would be unconfined offshore disposal. The Cape Cod Bay disposal site is a regulated, authorized dredge spoils disposal site located in close proximity to Wellfleet and P-Town. This site is available for the receipt of clean material. This material has gone through all of the required testing by Army Corps, EPA to get approval to go there. The dredge site will be dredged this fall using a mechanical operation. So everything will be on the water. It will be a barge with either a crane or an excavator. They'll have a side to dump scow. The sediments will be placed, and then a tug will haul the scow out to the disposal site where the material will be discharged into the water column. That disposal site is open through December 31st of every calendar year. So the work here is expected to be finished no later than December 31st. The disposal site closes due to the protection of the endangered Atlantic right whale. So the Army Corps is planning to come in this fall to dredge the federal limits, and the idea is to piggyback the town's dredging, similarly going to the same offshore site using the same equipment. So in theory, it's one dredge season and getting a lot of dredging done in the harbor at the same time.
Now, your application discusses why the dredging can't be used for beach nourishment, but just for information of anybody that may be watching, could you just give a brief outline why this can't be used as beach nourishment?
Yeah, sure thing. It really comes down to the type of sediment contained within the submittal is grain size analysis. I believe we did 12 cores throughout the harbor. And typically beneficial reuse, obviously it's preferred, and it's typically something that we try to find dredge sediments that can go on beaches, but unfortunately the grain size distribution that has been analyzed in the channel area as well as the town landing areas that we just presented, there's too many fine grained, silty types of material contained within the sediment to go on a beach. So it's really not suitable. It's not sandy enough to be put on a beach. So not only will it not look good because it's black and fine grained, but it won't stay on the beach. And obviously a lot of the beaches in Marshfield have more of a coarse sand, cobbly, gravel type of material. So the material we're looking at here overall just is not suitable for those purposes. And I don't know if Mike mentioned, or I don't know what he's showing you, but the federal entrance channel, as you come through the jetties, that material is all nice, clean, sandy material. But as you start coming into the harbor and into this basin area here and the upper reaches and around the landing area, the material quickly turns into more of a fine grain, mucky type of material that's just not conducive to beach nourishment.
No, that's good, thank you. Another concern I had, does that other drawing, Mike, does that show the salt marsh in the area of the new dredge area?
Good, yeah.
Salt marsh?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no salt.
Yeah, we're nowhere near, the marshes are over here. We're nowhere near near the marshes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're not near the marsh at all.
Yeah.
You're seeing on the plan the little cross, which
Yeah.
is that's a symbol for sort of
Yeah.
mouth shellfish area, but there's no salt marsh in the vicinity of the proposed dredging here. If we go back up to the town landing, you can see the very little tip
Yeah.
salt marsh
Yeah,
here.
it's right
But,
here.
again, no one's dredging near salt marsh for the applications that are proposed.
The marshes are here.
Yeah, so this is your dredge area. Yeah, so you're more than, where's your scale here?
This says 70 feet.
You're about 100, you're
Yeah,
about
this
100
is-
feet.
Yeah, but all this is the federal. This is what the federal is.
Yeah.
You're way away from the marsh, way away from this marsh. There's no marsh in here. You couldn't even dredge marsh. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, isn't this your new area here, though?
No, it's actually right here. Right here. It ties into the very end down to this triangle right here.
Okay.
Which.
Okay, so you're
it's the other
well over 100 feet from.
Oh, God, yeah.
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 Yeah,
And
probably
we're away
closer.
from the dike, so we're not impacting the dike with any kind of problems there. And we consult with the town engineer, so we're not too close to the dike to undermine it.
Okay.
I can leave these two, Mike, both of them. Actually, I'll put them
Okay.
online. Actually, these are already online on the Army Corps site. Perfect. No secrets.
So the time of year you anticipate doing this?
We hope to start October. October 1st is the dredge window. The Army Corps will do their own federal navigation project and bid solicitation. The town has to bid on their own. The town could save money on the mold demold cost if it is the same contractor, but the town doesn't have to have the same contractor. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, all depends. But the sooner the town does get the permits, the sooner the town can apply for state grants and save 50% of the cost. Right now, it's like $892,000 minus the permits. The town could save almost $500,000 if we're eligible for state grants, which we're getting some money.
So I'm sorry, did I interrupt your presentation, or you
No,
finished?
I think,
Okay.
as that's not any questions, it's pretty straightforward. I'm sure it's the same information you heard from Taylor Marine and Green Harbor Marina. These are things that we work behind the scenes on with all their engineers, their consultants, to make sure the harbor gets dredged completely, nothing gets missed. You know, the harbor is economically viable for tuna fish and lobster and recreational and passive recreation. So we're a little overdue in the 10-year cycle, but that's because the Army Corps is a little strapped financially, but we're just very fortunate that the Army Corps is coming to dredge this. So, and I will say publicly as well, in the future, there are plans to correct the jetties once and for all, so we don't have to dredge as much too. So that's coming down the line as well.
Do you have any comments, Mike?
No comments. It's a pretty straightforward dredging project.
Okay, I'd like to open it up to questions or comments from the other commissioners. I'd like to open it up to questions and comments for either anybody in the room or anybody on Zoom. We don't seem to have anybody that wants to come in, Mike.
No, I don't see any notifications or anything on my screen.
Okay, what do we have for special conditions?
Similar special conditions as the Taylor Marine dredging project. Standard special conditions would apply. After construction, insert a piece allowing for perpetual maintenance dredging, and then during the dredging work, insert a comment or condition that that any comments from the Mass DMF Division of Marine Fisheries shall apply.
Mike, you got a copy of the DMF letter? I know it came later this afternoon. You have a copy of that?
I believe it came today. I don't have it part of the presentation now.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that it did come late today, so you should have it in your box.
Thank you.
Better late than never.
Commissioners all satisfied with those conditions?
Yep.
In that case, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue special conditions. Have I got a second?
Second.
Second is Joe Ring. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mike, I'll leave these in case they want to.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike.
I'll grab them.
All right. Next is 176 Bay Ave, SC 422779 amended. And the hearing, is this a continued hearing? And the hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Thank you. And I see Mr. Savant.
Yes. Yes, Rick Savant with Send Taylor. I'm here with Mr. Tallis, the homeowner. I think he had provided the commission with some information, I think just today, and we probably had a chance to review it. But essentially, he's proposing to relocate the gazebo much closer to the home. And we've talked some about, we talked about the fencing and the gazebo is what we were discussing last time. Snow fence was preferable along the beach there that we talked about, which I think, Bill could speak more to it. And I didn't have a chance to review the package that he prepared and sent in, but it pertains obviously to a lot of pictures and so forth at the site. And we basically agreed to all the stuff we talked about last time with the conservation markers, agreed on a position at the back of the patio. We talked about, instead of the vinyl fence, using a snow fence. And we continued to go out and maybe Mr. Tallis can add some more to that, but I know he's proposing to move the gazebo much closer to the home, is my understanding.
Do you want to take over, sir?
I think so. Thank you. Ben, thank you for coming out and looking at the property. Let me talk about the fencing first. And I did put together this package, and I apologize, I didn't get it to you sooner. I had a death of my family, which precluded even Rick getting those materials until this afternoon. And I thought the materials might resolve any questions that you have, at least in terms of what I want to accomplish. The beach area itself, and I think just from the dredging project, because of the jetties, and you have a problem down at the south end of Bay Avenue where the seawall's collapsing because there's an erosion problem. On my property and on the north end of Bay Avenue, you have an accretion problem, not an erosion problem.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. But I was not born with gray hair. God knows what time is going to do to us. But the beach area where my property is and towards the north it's a problem in the summer because there's trespassing. In fact, I think when the walk of the property inspection, there was charred wood, and I've actually had people go into the dunes burning logs in the summer. And one of the reasons why I wanted a picket fence is the snow fence is not enough of a visual deterrent to trespassers. And there's a letter in there from the company indicating spacing with the fencing that should be adequate so that there would not be an erosion issue as a result of the fencing. And in fact, there were snow fences in the property decades ago, crossing not only my property, but 172, 168, and 164 Bay Avenue. The retaining wall actually is from 160 down, and that sort of separates some of the dunes. In fact, if you walk and you see adjacent properties, I'm sandwiched in among 14 properties in which there were various structures with a larger footprint on 11 out of the 14 properties. And the only reason there hasn't been for three of the 14 is that the owners of the other two, including me, to make it 3, haven't requested those changes. So the fencing would protect the dunes. In fact, my next door neighbor and I, we've had plantings of dune grass itself. It would protect that. And actually, I had spoken to everybody or sent letters to all the neighbors suggesting that we take a unified approach in fencing, and everybody in the neighborhood seems to be receptive to that. I have kind of a personal desire to put a gazebo. I have some disabled family members. One
is a cousin who's 10 years younger than me. He was born with cerebral palsy. I like to have him at my property. I have a handicap access ramp which I designed when I built the house after my wife passed away, so that it would be easier for people to get into the house. And I'm getting old, so I might be one of them too. And I was thinking of bringing the gazebo back. Initially, it was further out, and I think I talked to a number of people, including the conservation, and I wanted to pull that back inside the AE zone, which would be closer to the house. And I think that's easier for disabled and old people to get there. And the motive for that is that some of these people just can't sit out in the sun, but I want them to be able to be outside. The footprint of the gazebo would be very small because it's 10 feet octagonal, so the square footage would be about 83 feet, be a smaller area. It would be constructed on diamond pins, and there's a letter in there and correspondence indicating that, so that it would be as environmentally friendly and positive as possible. I have kind of a strong personal interest in the environment because of my longevity living at the property, my desire to continue there through my retirement years and pass this property on to my children. So I don't want anything to occur to the property or the dunes that would be cursing my children. The fencing that I would hope to put would be 76 feet along the northerly border of my property. There's an easement which is available for people who own 180 and 184. I would leave a space, because that easement has been blocked off historically on a number of occasions by other people. I have good relations with the neighbors. I would want them to be able to cross through my property if their easement were to be blocked in the future. So I would leave enough of an opening for them, 76 feet of fencing along the northerly border, and diagonally about 60 feet. And my property width is 50 feet wide, but it would be diagonal, which would be consistent to protect the dune grass area on the property itself. And hopefully the commission will feel that this is not going to be deleterious to the environment in any way. And I'm really receptive when you people came out to your thoughts and suggestions. Everything that I see in the literature, snow fencing is considered the most preferable way of protecting dunes, particularly to prevent erosion. I don't have the erosion concerns there. In fact, the earliest presentation about the dredging, the jetty itself is designed in a non-ergonomically way that causes sand to pile up. And in fact, if you ever walk along the channel into the Green Harbor, there was an erection constructed because sand not only piles up on my property, adjacent properties, it actually spills over into the channel, which is why they can dredge at the outer channel and use that for sand, for resanding the beach, but they can't do that with the silt from the inner harbor. But it's a problem, and it's a recurring problem that the outer channel sand and wind blows up. The fence that the neighbor has on the along my property in that easement, that's a solid fence. It's over 6 feet. That's too much aesthetically to look at it. I want a fence that's going to be as friendly as possible to the dunes. In fact, when you did the walkthrough, you saw stairs that came down. Those stairs are all covered with sand that had been built up, and I had allowed those people to build stairs on my property because their easement to the beach had been obstructed by a prior owner.
Thank you. So this drawing, it's not updated, so.
I have to hire him for an update. Yes. May I show you where originally I was thinking of in that area, but I would pull it inside the AE zone inside, closer that way. And I think for my disabled relatives, that would be easier too, because they can't even walk to the beach. So I'd want something closer to the house in the patio area. And I'd also mention, I included a picture from that horrific storm in 2018 where all of Bear Rock was underwater. I did not even get water into my yard. It's very strange because it's set back so far. If you look at the aerial photograph I looked at, all of the houses were originally constructed on a straight line because the beach at one time, if we go back, 80 years, before the channel was constructed, there was a buffer of sand, so the house at 40 Bay Avenue is losing sand and seawall is crumbling. Actually, that's because of the navigational channel that was constructed to make safe passage for boats in and out of the harbor. And that's something, nobody knew that science, 100 years ago.
Yeah, so you're right, Bert, this plan doesn't reflect any of that movement of the gazebo.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where the proposed location will be
believe it's-
compared to where we
Yeah,
agreed
it's,
on the conservation markers.
it's
It's outside.
seaward of those.
Yeah, there's a rough,
Yeah,
That was my
That's a rough
handwritten
sketch, so
sketch,
it's still,
yeah. Not mathematically precise, which means you may get to see me again.
well. And so we agreed to put the markers at the extent of the patio, I believe, at the last meeting, right? Which was that, so yeah. I mean, see where he's got it sketched on. I mean, would you have any interest in putting it on the patio?
No. The pad is just too small an area.
Right next to the patio?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Actually, what I've used, of course, that patio's so new, just this year. I mean, I had buckets of vegetables I was growing before the
What
summer.
about what Mike's cursor is right now?
Okay, so just to sum up
Yes,
the
yes.
changes, you're still proposing to put the fence in the same place.
I think that's reasonable and it's not deleterious to the environment.
So the question is, what sort of fence you want? Did we, was that?
I have a letter in there and a actual photograph that came from Perfection Fence that kind of outlines that.
Okay, well, I've got that same thing,
Yeah,
it's just a
a
matter
posted,
of finding it.
posted.
so when you look at these pictures, it seems like every yard has a different type of fence. Am I looking at the,
Yeah,
I
you were
mean, I see a
looking-
lattice fence, I see a solid fence, I see a,
there's no real consistency in that neighborhood. This was a neighborhood that, when I bought my house in, 1984, they were all beach houses and summer homes, and the neighborhood's changed very, very dramatically. I can tell you that in the registry of deeds, there was a restriction from any home on the Bay Avenue building beyond the line of homes. And that restriction, that building restriction, which was a covenant on the registry, it wasn't something of the building department or anything, it was a covenant at the registry of deeds, that expired in year 2000. When I bought the property in 1984, I saw on the registry records that restriction, which I think was curious, but it served a purpose. Now, at least 2 houses have been built beyond that line. Of course, that's an expired covenant among all the homeowners, so that everybody that's making the improvements and changes on their properties, they're kind of doing things in their own unique way. In fact, I had to kind of apologize that I trimmed trees that I planted in 1984, and that's because my poor neighbor next door, who has multiple sclerosis, couldn't see the ocean because there's been a cargo container blocking her direct front view since 2016. So it's not like Levittown, New York, where it's cookie cutter houses and fences. Everybody's different.
Yeah, I think most of us are familiar with it. I'm just trying to get wrapped around what can happen here. I think last time we talked about that we understand your requirement for your need for a fence. It's what fence, what kind of fence would be appropriate there. I'm trying to recall what we have allowed. You know, the snow fencing is what's generally, talked about.
That's what's stated in the.
In everything in the literature that I've seen, the problem that I see with snow fencing in this particular area, and this is a chronic problem, in the summer, the dunes are absolutely devastated by people. I mean, we have, diapers, tampons, condoms, broken beer bottles, glass. You can't safely walk barefoot on any of those properties.
Okay, I'm not sure what.
Snow fencing is not enough of a deterrent. That's part of the problem that I see.
The reason the dune is so healthy there is because of the snow fencing that is embedded in there. It's clearly, that's why you're having the accretion.
Combination of that and the jetties.
And the jetties.
Yeah. But you worry about what's gonna happen when they adjust the jetties.
If they move the jetties.
Right. And you can see, I think Mike is trying to get a comment, so I'll cede to Mike.
You can finish that thought, Joe. Yeah.
And you can see the change where on the other side of Burke's Beach, if you will, taking down the snow fencing. And it's still, it's surviving pretty well. They do have the summer visitor problem there as well. But they've chosen to take down the snow fencing. And it seems to be doing well.
Yeah, where this is the public beach, though, I can understand that.
The other side is the public beach as well. It's actually more of the public beach, because it's where the pathway walks in. And this is the spread out for the public beach.
The area of beach, I own to the high water mark, but directly to my left, if you're looking to the water, or if I'm the water and you're looking at it, directly to your right, that area actually is an easement which was taken by the town for public beach, and then there's a public walkway, and very limited parking. In fact, the Lobster Pound in the summer rents parking spaces, the neighbors do, and I know, owning that property, I'm much more popular even with my own family members in the summer. But it's a problem, and it's a nighttime problem too with people. And of course, the jetty, the Army Corps of Engineers is now thinking about rejuggling that. So it may be that occurs, and I may put this fence up, and 10 years from now, I may be coming back to you saying, I want to take it down. That's within the realm of possibilities as well, too. Because I certainly don't want to do anything that would be deleterious to my property or to the neighbors with whom I have good relations. In fact, one of them showed up tonight.
And he's putting in the gazebo for me also.
Mike?
A possibility here too would be doing 2 lines of snow fencing, perhaps. I'm not sure if that's been done before or the commission's seen that before, but kind of just an additional line to deter unwanted guests, but also work on the accretion zone.
And it's also, there's no limit on, the snow fencing isn't, typical snow fencing's about 3 feet high.
Yeah.
But you can get it taller.
Yeah.
There's no, there's no requirement on that, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No fencing on the beach is what we're leaning towards for that.
Well, how do the other
Or both.
commissioners feel?
I think snow fencing is probably better for the dune. Another fence like the vinyl one that was proposed was gonna require some kind of post. And I fear that's gonna give us the washout around the posts when the winds hit. Because those winds are pretty stiff there.
I'm concerned about our performance standards for coastal dune. It does, I believe, only recommends snow fencing. It says we may. It doesn't really go into any other type of fencing, but that would be my concern. I totally understand your concerns as well.
If I may chime in, I don't believe that any post would be an ideal structure in this environment.
He has to come back because he needs to show on the plan where the gazebo is gonna go anyways, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, we need to talk about that a little bit too, but I wanted to get past the fence. So commissioners generally feel that snow fencing is what we would require here.
I think Mike's suggestion of a double might actually help, because I don't think they've tried that in that area. But Mr. Tallis is right, he's got visitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
understand.
sympathetic, he needs to
Yeah.
have some sort of fence.
Space.
I haven't opened it up to public yet, but I missed you last time, so please go ahead.
Oh,
Your name and,
I have 3 daughters who, I live right across the street from Billy. They did not grow up in the dunes because they're filthy. Now I got 8 grandchildren, it's the same situation. He's trying to solve that problem. He's a very, very good neighbor.
For the record, would you state your
Name, sir?
name and
Oh, my
address?
name is William Dowling, I live at 181 Bay Ave.
Thank you.
I'm inclined towards the snow fencing.
I am too. I am sympathetic, but, I went through the coastal zone management regulations, not regulations, but their guidance, and they don't get into real specifics, but it seems to me that right now, there's a lot of attention focused by DEP on dunes. And it's our responsibility to protect those dunes, but we also have to be aware that any decisions we make ultimately go to DEP, and we have to be able to defend them. And they seem to be taking a pretty hard look at dune activity right now. So I want to be very careful that we don't permit something that,
I think that's a reasonable concern. If we come back and we have the plans done, maybe I can contact fencing company, because I don't wanna do something that's damaging to this either. This is, this is
Right.
important to me, so that I can find out from the fencing company if they have information, scientific or academic information that would make us all feel a little more comfortable. When we do more homework.
I mean, you could bring something back, but we want to tell you where we think we're going to come down on this.
No, I understand,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's move on to the gazebo.
I will say that I know the DEP had some concerns about the performance standards being met on the site, to the point where a additional DEP number was issued. They did believe that the proposed work on site with this site plan did change the scope of the original permit number and would require an additional permit.
Thank you, I wanted
Yes.
to point that out, yeah, which I've never seen happen
Yeah,
before.
I've never seen or
They're
saw
not-
any records of that
Yeah.
happening as well.
They're not allowing you to amend
Right.
the original permit.
They'd require a new permit with the gazebo, at least.
Yes.
So what I don't see on this plan, Rick, is the limit of the dune. Is that delineated?
Yeah, that green there, Bert, it's just based on the, the wetland change map, it's the line of the, state GIS dune line. So that's where it is.
I would,
Hasn't been delineated by a scientist.
it's interesting because, and I'm not familiar with the mapping, although I can tell you that probably beyond the AE line is that this mound that grew from 1984 from knee-high to top. But I actually had a garden when my kids were small that probably was 75 or 100 feet out from the area of the patio during summers when my kids were small. And then when they got bigger, they wanted to play wiffle ball out there, so my gardening plans were short. But that area we actually had room and I don't know if I was breaking the law, but we were growing vegetables, in the 90s.
The furthest we can easily look back at is about 1990 on GIS,
Yeah.
and that all looked pretty-natural, natural type area then. Unlike everything around you, as I said before, I commend you for the way you've taken care of your property and your dune. It's the most natural around. We'd like to keep it that way.
I did have an apple tree growing in that big mound a few years ago, and I didn't plant it there, but I actually got apples off it. It was very strange. Yeah. So there's been a lot of interesting and flora and fauna. I saw a coyote out there too.
So is it pretty clear that this gazebo is gonna have to be outside these markers, right?
Yeah, but Craig, you're more up on this than I am recently, but would it be necessary to get a delineation of the dune?
Well, that's funny, I was just starting to think that, because it might make good sense if we have that. It may become clear that you can get a gazebo there, or you absolutely can't, depending on that delineation.
But it's definitely gonna be back close to the patio there. That's
You've got the markers right there also, that will be in
Right.
place.
I think the delineation is the smart thing to do, because I think the separate DEP number is a shot across the bow.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're already looking at this, and why go in when they're looking at it? And then you wind up with a project that gets so much more scrutiny and details, and you don't get what you want at all. So, starting off and looking at the right thing
Yeah.
gives you a shot.
Sounds like we need to do another filing anyway, at this point.
Right.
Based on DEP comments.
For the new number.
Maybe continue with this amended order at this point.
So is there any more information we can give you right now before you go back and,
I'm clear.
If I may, Bert. This permit number 2 will need an extension. It's on an item later in the COC's extensions and amendment section. It's set to expire soon, so that that current permit number that'll need to be extended. Just
Yeah.
FYI.
Right, and that's what prompted this whole thing, we're trying to close it, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really the goal, is to close that one out now.
Yeah, we just don't want it to expire on you.
Yeah, of course. Yep. Okay.
So you can work that with Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anybody else in the public that would like to make a comment on this hearing? I don't see or hear anybody. I'd like to make, sir?
When Billy moved in, those sand dunes were about as high as the crease of your pants. Now the sand dunes are grown.
Well, that's good. I wish they were in other places.
That's
I
because
know,
he's
I know on
been
the
a
south
good
end of the
steward.
street, they'd like to take a shovel. Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
sir.
got accused of stealing their sand, didn't you?
So I'd like to make a motion to continue. When do you want to continue to?
Let's do the next hearing if it's available, and Mike, I'll work with you to iron out these items.
So continue to, what is it, April?
April 19th.
Make a motion to continue April 19th. Have I got a second?
Second.
Second is Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, Mike.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your thoughtfulness.
Thank you. And that we'll have time to read your memo fully now.
Well, thank you. This is an educational process for me, too. Thank you.
Let's see.
Thanks, Rick.
Is this one yours, Susan?
Okay.
I got one,
I
so.
put it up there.
I guess it was Mike's.
I went by, it looked great. So, yeah, I appreciate that. I was looking behind you, like the fence.
Next up, we have the
Thank you, Bill.
0 Ferry Street dock. This is a continued hearing, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Ring.
Hi, we're back here again. Unfortunately, we have not heard from town council on the letter request, and we really can't do much until we hear from them. So I don't know what you want to discuss today. We will need to get guidance from town council. So unfortunately, if you have a way of encouraging town council, I would encourage that. We have tried our best to encourage town council, and we don't have an answer. We've raised this as an issue, and it still continues, and we're kind of stuck.
Okay. For the
Sorry.
record, yep, Gregory Morse, Morse Engineering. We'd like to close the hearing. I'd like to read my final statement here. That'll give the commission 21 days to issue its order of conditions, consult with town council on appropriate conditions. This is a project that we submitted. This is the 4th public hearing we've had. This is a single-family residential dock application. Property owner Thomas Lauer and Stephanie Bauman have done everything requested of them by the Conservation Commission. This is a dock for their property at 46 Preston Terrace. The dock fully complies with all DEP standards, complies with all DEP small dock standards. DEP had no comments on their review. This was approved unanimously by the Marshfield Zoning Board of Appeals. This had multiple emails with the harbor master. The harbor master commented, all set. His latest email is no navigational concerns, similar docks in the area. The building inspector, several members of the commission, the harbor master all participated in a dock walk. There were no concerns at the dock walk at this location. No abutters have expressed any opposition. No one has come in opposition to this project to any of those 4 public hearings. The plans were prepared by a professional engineer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in good standing and comply with all of the requirements. The hurdle here is this local variance. The local variance is with respect to your Marshfield regulations. It is not a bylaw. Your regulations specifically allow the commission in certain circumstances to issue variances. The variance in this case is with respect to section 304E1. I submitted 2 letters to the variance, one on February 8th, another one on March 14th. The specific section requires that no pier shall extend more than half the distance of the water frontage out into the waterway. My client owns the largest piece of waterfront frontage on this portion of the South River. There were docks on either side of him up and down Preston Terrace. In my review, I looked at 4 dock applications that have been submitted in this town and approved by this commission since the new dock regulations came into effect. 1203 Ferry Street, 1213 Ferry Street, 66 Edmund Road, and 0 Littles Lane.
On all 4 applications, you issued this variance. On all 4 applications, those variances required more relief than what my applicant is asking for. At this point, we're asking to close the hearing. We feel that this site complies with the requirements. It's in keeping with the tune of the bylaw. It provides access at this dock location. It requests relief that has been granted on similar applications. It's in keeping in tune with properties that abut this. The harbor master has endorsed this. The zoning board of appeals has endorsed this. We suggested a condition at the request of the Conservation Commission. The property to the north of this is owned by a family member of the applicant. It is not owned by the applicant. When you run the calculations for the waterfront frontage divided by 2, and that being the maximum length that you're allowed to extend out into the water, if you add the 60 Preston Terrace property to this, it makes it so that we exceed the regulation by 25.8 feet. The docks I mentioned previously extend out 112 feet and 147 feet, significantly more. We suggested a condition. You have that in our letter. You can discuss that with town council, but we'd like to close the hearing at this point. We can't alter the design here. We've pulled it in as close to land as possible. Your regulations are impossible to comply with, as is evident in every dock application that has come in since your new regulations has required a variance. You're requiring the dock to be in close to shore to limit the length going out to the navigational channel, yet at the same time you require a minimum depth of water under that dock, which isn't achievable until you get out further to the channel. We're outside the channel. The harbor master has no navigational concerns. This will be reviewed by Army Corps of Engineers as well as DEP Waterways. Every other town board I've spoken to is on board with this application.
Thank you. What are our options in this case? I've not experienced this one before.
Nor have I.
Mike?
I believe in watching other boards operate. We can close the hearing, but we can wait until we get feedback from town council, and then we can deliberate and make our decision. But it would be closed to public comment. Greg would not have a chance to give any further input. Is that the way you understand it?
It is. You will have 21 days to issue an order of conditions.
That's the other part of that, is we would be required to act on it, which I think seems doable.
Okay, so do we close the public hearing and put it on for the 19th?
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Because
Actually,
that-
I see somebody in the audience that may be a little more familiar with this than I am. Mr. Finn, is that?
If the board is ready to close the hearing and take a vote, then that's your best option right now. You can extend it, but if you close the hearing, at some point in time, you're gonna have to take a vote, or it's gonna be approved automatically.
Well, I think we're just waiting for input from town council, right?
Right, yeah. So theoretically, we could vote on the 19th without comment from anyone, given the input from town council, and we may or may not wind up with something that anybody or everybody likes. Those are all possibilities. I have no idea where we wind up.
What happens if you don't hear from town council by the 19th?
You're gonna take a vote.
We would take a vote.
Just vote based on the current
Based on-
understanding?
Yep.
Can I ask a question? So if the last item that works...
If you could identify yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Thomas Law. I'm the property of 46 Preston Terrace. I'm the applicant for after the dock here. My question is, so it seems like the very last open item is to get feedback from the town council on the 2 sentences that we submitted 4 weeks ago regarding basically what I would put in the legal document, ensuring that this is a shared dock. And this would be basically a compromise condition in order to meet the fact that we have, to justify for the variance, we're going to combine and create a shared dock, which is a huge compromise based on the position of a usage, the user, because I have a boat and other people in the family have boats. My question is, if that's the last open item, can I ask this commission, since this has been an open conversation since January 18th, I've made 4 meetings over 8 weeks, can I ask for your perspective on where you are regarding this project? And if, assuming that the town council is okay with the language, or that we can amend the language, according to what the town requests, are you supportive? I mean, we're trying to meet everything that you're asking us to do, and including significant compromise. I would like to know where the commission stands, on the condition that the language can be agreed upon.
I think we did that the last meeting, and that's how we wound up in the position we're in now, if my memory serves correctly. Do you remember better than I?
I'm not sure if an official poll was taken last meeting, but I believe
We did a
there was some sort of
consensus.
consensus among
Yeah.
one or several commissioners. You could take a poll.
We could? Poll seemed like a reasonable thing?
I'm sorry, so what are you asking us right now?
To take a poll to see if we could reach a reasonable compromise or agreement on the variance request by combining the 2 properties. Craig, you look like something's not settling right.
No, I was not here
So you can't answer the question of what we did last week,
for the
or last meeting.
and I did not watch that section of tape, so I don't know what you did. The last meeting that I was here was when the proposal was made to combine the and go for that
properties, yeah.
variance. So I don't know, what was said. I would say, from my perspective, if Bob Galvin came through and said that was, a possibility, I think I would be inclined to be in favor.
That's how I remember our discussion last week, and that's where I would wind up. Bert?
I would also.
Susan?
So too, I think it's the compromise that makes it possible to issue variance.
It is the compromise we asked for.
That's
Yeah.
right.
John?
I agree, yep.
Ken?
I absolutely agree.
So I think there you have your,
We've provided
All at
everything
this
we
point.
absolutely can at this point, so we have nothing further to add. So if we can close this hearing.
okay. So, Mike, what kind of special conditions should we do with this?
I was thinking the standard dock special conditions would be applicable here.
With one
Also,
pending input?
Would this be a vote to close the hearing, or would it be a vote to close the hearing and issue special conditions? I know that we are waiting on a piece from town council.
I think it's close the hearing only,
Okay.
and no special
Okay,
conditions.
we can decide on special conditions
Would-
next meeting as well. That's 14
Yeah.
days from now. Well
So
within the
we would
21.
close the hearing pending input from town council?
Sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got 2 seconds.
I'll-
How about all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing nobody remaining, I would say that carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we have 6 Trounce Island septic repair. Are we hearing this tonight, or is this still? We are hearing this.
This is, I'm Darren Grady from Grady Consulting.
Hi.
So at the last hearing, we had
we had asked for more time because the Board of Health
Right.
asked for additional information. We went out and did additional test holes with them, and they've approved it, and I believe they've sent it back and forth with your department as well. I never really introduced this, the plan to you guys. You guys want me to take you through it?
Sure.
So the project is a septic system upgrade. The septic system, okay, if I approach the screen?
Sure.
Septic system is a stone pipe system shown in the middle here with a dark dash in it. The resource areas here, we're within the 200-foot riverfront area of the South River. The 100-foot inner riparian is shown right here. We have 51 feet to the top of coastal bank over in this area. Our limit of work, which is a silt sock, is proposed at 31 feet to the coastal bank. We're outside the floodplain that exists on site at elevation 17, shown here. The septic system upgrade is to replace an existing pit that is shown right over here. And we believe that the upgrade is a significant improvement over the existing pit because it has increased separation to groundwater. It's new Title V compliant, where the other pit, we had groundwater at 4 feet, by the way, and so this system is a little bit raised. It comes out and you can see the grading in the back, but we're adding treatment we're getting that separation and adding that filter to the effluent. If you have any questions about this, I'd be happy to answer them.
I went out and looked at the site some time ago, and it seems pretty straightforward to me. Bad luck for that nice old cedar tree that's right in the middle of the lawn, but
yes,
you have to have a septic system. Yeah, I don't have any issues. Mike, do you have?
Nope, just rehashing what you said, that cedar will have to go, but ultimately having a better functioning septic system.
Right, is a betterment.
Yep.
Yeah. Other commissioner comment?
No, I was out there also, it looked good.
Yep. I mean, there's, not a lot of options. Any comment from the public? Hearing none, I move that we vote to approve and issue
Standard special
conditions.
The erosion control insert under the during construction piece.
Yeah, and that's shown on here, I believe, so.
Yes.
Yeah. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And, okay, on to 1184 Ferry Street. Commissioner Ring is hearing officer once again.
Thank you. So this is a dock. I don't believe that we've done much with this. I understand that we have a letter that was received today on this.
It was dated April 3rd, so, yeah, it's recent.
It's recent, and I certainly have not had an opportunity to see this letter. I think that the letter needs to be reviewed by council, and so I'm not sure that there's much that we can do with this today, having not seen this at all. I presume that you would like to make a comment. I'll certainly encourage that. Unfortunately, there's not much I can say about this because I haven't even seen the letter yet.
Just to introduce myself, I'm William Eads from Joe and Tochio Morgan. I'm joined here by Mr. Brady, and I believe Mr. Bethanis is on Zoom. Adam Brodsky sends his regrets that he couldn't attend this evening because he is celebrating Passover. So, yes, we certainly have made revisions to the plan per comments of the commission. And we have been working with Mr. DeMeo to address some of his comments and to resolve the navigational concerns that I believe he had expressed previously, which I believe he has sent a comment to the board expressing that those concerns have been resolved, but I can let him speak for himself on that if you've received that email. And beyond that, we can cover the changes made, but if you haven't had an opportunity to review the letter yet, I'm not sure what else
I'd just like to add that there's no changes to the dock design. The changes to the plan were that we added the square footage and we calculated the shellfish compensation shown on the plan, and that the float stops are on there. And that's a change.
As discussed, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. I'd like to propose that we continue this until maybe the next meeting so that we can get town council response and assistance. Based on my earlier comment, might not hurt if you try to help us get comment from council.
Very familiar with Mr. Galvin.
We've not been successful in much of my tenure on this commission from getting timely response from town council, so I would certainly love the assistance. Is that amenable?
Yeah, reach out to Mr. Galvin.
Of course.
Thank you. So with that, I would like to propose that we continue this until the April 19th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Susan seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Appreciate the help.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our hearings. Now we have certificates of compliance and extensions, the first being an extension for 176 Bay Avenue, the gazebo and after-the-fact patio fire pit, SE 422779. I move that we vote to issue this extension. May I have a second?
Second.
All in, all in favor?
Aye.
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 SE 422976, this has been tabled and no additional info has been received. Do I vote on this, or does it just remain tabled? When we have something that's tabled, do we have to vote on it every?
There was a vote to table it previously,
Mhm.
so I'm not sure if
I believe it is on the table. Waiting some action.
Okay.
All right, so I move that we vote to continue this as tabled. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 421074, 36 Old Ocean Street. Rick Servant is planning on posting markers discussed at the 3/15/2023 meeting and cleaning up some debris. Has that been done?
Yes, I went out on site. So he cleared out some debris over in this area where there's an asphalt driveway. There's just a lot of like pallets and just pieces of wood, kind of just look like a bit of a dumping ground for the last few years while this property's been unoccupied. Stenbeck and Taylor went out and put a bunch of conservation markers highlighted by these red squares. They even include the back driveway as well as the Plain Street entrance. So you can see these essentially along the wetland flags on either side of the property. I feel like those are a very good solution considering this site has a history of expanding its barriers. So the next owner will have a set of markers to steer them in the right direction.
And those are all in place?
Yep.
And the debris is cleaned up?
It is. I photo documented it
Okay.
last Friday.
All right, then I move that we vote to issue a certificate of completion for SE 42-1074. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 42-1500, 71 Constellation Road. I think, did you go out there
Yeah, I
with?
went out there, but no action has been taken.
No
yet
action
that
has
I'm
been
aware of.
taken.
Yep.
Okay,
Meet with the contractor and the homeowner, though, or I guess previous homeowner. But essentially whoever's going to be doing the work and outline the problems that needed to be addressed.
okay. So I move that we vote to table until, do you think there's any chance they're gonna do it before the 19th, or should we?
There could be. You could also table it out a month, just to
Yeah, just to give them time.
a bit more wiggle room.
I'd go with a month, given everything else we put on the next meeting.
Yep.
And how long this has been around.
Yep. So that's I vote that we move to table to May 17th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And another perennial favorite, SE 42-2773.
If I may, I reached out to Monahan. I haven't heard anything back. That was maybe a week ago. We could push this out another month while I try to establish contact. I know that she had previously met with former Administrator Bill Grafton about some of the issues on site, but I haven't heard anything in the last few months from her.
Okay, I move that we vote to table SC 42-2773 until May 17th. May I have a second?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That concludes our business. I move to close the meeting of the Marshfield Conservation Commission of April 5th, 2023. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.